Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Don't forget, if you like the video, click on like and subscribe and talk about it on chat lines or wherever it is your social media activities, and help us to grow and help more people. I'll talk to you soon. Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since I've made a video on a better quality since I changed the laptop for the live streams and it had a good resolution, so I kept using bits and pieces that in the form of question and answer, and I thought that would be a good addition to the inventory we have in the form of videos that could be helpful to whatever challenges you're going through. However, today I want to talk about what we basically started this channel on, relationships. And I want to talk to you about why most relationships don't work, and where do we look for the reasons that it's actually not working, or they break up, or they fail. So in an informal discussion, we want to just go over a few points and see if that would be something to ponder. So here we go. Well, when a relationship doesn't work, most of us, what do? We try to look for, what did I do? What should I have done? What did she do? What should she have done different than what she did? What would I have preferred if I would have handled something differently? Would the outcome be different if I would have had handled it, that particular situation, or that particular needs of hers, or that particular discussion that we had, or the points of views that we were sharing? Would the result would be different? Would the outcome be different? Like the breakup wouldn't take place, or she wouldn't leave me, or whatever your relationship, you would think the other would not leave you. And you go through this rabbit hole and you create all these questions and you seek answers and you wish you could do it differently, and that will haunt you for years. Hopefully not years, for days or weeks or months, and some of you, for heaven's sake, for years, and you drive me crazy because no matter what I say, you still say, oh yes, I understand it. But then you come up with the same shit that you were saying yesterday, and that we had discussed it and explored it, and you were in quite agreement and understanding what you should do to move on. But yet you roll back to that puddle that you have parked your car and you can't actually move out. Sit there, sob and sad, and trying to figure out what I could have done different so she wouldn't have reacted different, so she wouldn't leave me, because you feel responsible that the reason that she left is because you handled something, or you said something, or didn't do something in the way that she would have expected you, or in a way that you should have done it differently. And that would haunt you forever, thinking it was your fault, that you're responsible for it. Well, that's one way of doing things, and perhaps you can learn something from it when you ponder. And if a situation or an opportunity arises and you guys somehow stumble onto each other later on, or at some time that passed, maybe you reintroduce yourselves if opportunity arises, and then you will do it differently according to what you had pondered that you should have done in the first place. But the reality is that the relationship often is broken up before you actually enter it. What do I mean? What I mean is that, what are you going into the relationship for? What are you looking for it? Let's focus on that. Many of you looking for a relationship so you can be happy. Well, that's the first mistake. You want to learn the art of happiness before you ever think of being in a relationship at all. Because when you go into a relationship hoping that you will be happy, that the relationship would be an instrument for you to reach and arrive to happiness, that means your happiness is dependent on something or someone else's behavior or reaction or interaction with you. So your happiness is always like a yo-yo, up and down in the hands of environments, happenings, jobs, money, relationship, this girl, that person, whatever your relationship is, your partner. And that is very weird way of trusting someone else to have your level of happiness in hand and to dictate if you can be happy or not, versus trusting yourself and learning how you can be in control of your own happiness. If you actually don't trust yourself to regulate your happiness and bring about your happiness, how could you actually trust someone that you hardly know, far less than you know yourself, that would actually work to your advantage and focus on bringing you happiness? So to begin with, this assumption, this equation is starting on the wrong foot. You're thinking that your partner, let's in this case talk about, you're a man and our example is about your girlfriend. So the fact that you think your girlfriend's first and foremost responsibility in this relationship would be to make you happy, and you think that she will actually do that, is a big mistake. Because just as you are entering a relationship to be happy, she's also entering a relationship to be happy. In other words, her own happiness comes first. Who's the most important person in your life? Let's talk about this. Who's the most important person in your life? You are. Because if you're not there, nothing else matters. No other thing that concerns you would be a concern if you didn't exist. So the most important person, that everything else around you happening because of him or her, is you. So how do you think that in the mind of the other person, the most important person in the world is not herself? Why should it be you? You know that why you're the most important person in your life. But you expect the most important person in her life would be you? No, it would also be herself. So why would you think that she would be focusing on your happiness in that relationship rather than first and foremost her own happiness? So if you're coming into a relationship hoping that somebody else will make you happy, well, that's it. No starter. That's not going to happen. So you come into a relationship thinking that she's going to be responsible for my happiness. And the girl also says, well, I'm going to go in a relationship so he can be responsible for my happiness, so I can be happy. So then what does that mean? That means everything that is included in the list of things that could make you happy, you're having her responsible to provide that. And she will have everything that is necessary for her to be happy to become your responsibility. The expectations to begin with is unreasonable, hence unreasonable expectations. So she's thinking that what she wants to achieve in life, the degree that she wants to be recognized, the accomplishments that she wants to bring about, the provisions that she expects, the lifestyle that she wants, the kind of accommodation that she's hoping to have in life, the kind of, a vehicle that she wants to drive, or the places she wants to travel, experiences she wants to have, the kind of food she wants to experience, all is on your shoulder. If she's coming into a relationship expecting that everything she wants to accomplish in this life would be part of the requirements of you being a good boyfriend or good husband, that is why a relationship fails, because she has brought so much that is not related or responsibility of yours, and she thinks it is. Even her own political views, she expects you to accept them. Why? Because she feels, well, I'm giving him what he really wants. A woman, intimacy, warmth. What he has in mind, she feels that she's going to give it to him. And the worth of it is everything else that she wants to accomplish should come, or at least be facilitated by the boyfriend, including her political expectations or views, values in any shape or form, personal values, and she would expect him to comply to who she is, rather than respecting him to be who he is and having a certain limitations of expectations in a relationships when it comes to certain personal agenda or personal political views or personal intentions to learn, educate, or accomplish herself. So these are the expectations that causes the relationship break down a little bit further down the road. But at the beginning, most women or most couples, they won't show the real intentions of what they expect from a relationship, because they're hoping that they could actually manipulate the other one or convince the other ones that these are all his or her responsibility for what they personally want to be, or the kind of image they want to have of themselves in their own mind, but they want their partner to actually comply to what they want, so they can see themselves in the form of the image that they prefer themselves to be, based on what things they want to accomplish and how they want the society and community imagine them to be. And that imagination to them starts with the boyfriend or the husband or the partner, however your relationship is, to recognize them and comply to what image they want to have others to see them. And if not, well, that's not going to sit well with them. But because this, what's not going to sit well with them, is not going to show itself right away at the initial stages of a relationship, it's going to take a while, because at all times, each one is hopeful that to be able to convince the other one to look at things solely from their point of view, their personal point of view. So they feel there's going to be a time necessary to keep this relationship going, and with that hope, they will continue doing things that the other one likes, while they actually are not necessarily planning to continue this to be the norm of the relationship, but they are using it as a kind of a manipulation technique, intentionally or unintentionally, so the other one will simply become climatized through this whole charade or this intention, which is sort of hidden. And once it takes a while, then no longer the focus is on the relationship, the focus is on accomplishing the things that let's say girlfriend or the boyfriend expected the other one to become climatized with, or in agreement with, or be modified in their mentality. And because of the certain provisions or services, whether intimate or financial or lifestyle, they would eventually hope that the other one will comply. So that's why it takes a little bit longer, even when it becomes a little bit apparent. I know of couples who actually the woman knew from the beginning that she's going to manipulate the man through the intimacy and the sexuality and compliance to whatever the suggestion or the interest of the boyfriend or the husband was. But perhaps because of her genuine interest, or hoping that this genuine interest could also have a benefits of having the guy also start looking at the world through her eyes, because she's offering certain intimacy that is very important to men when they're in a relationship. And then so they continue the relationship hoping things would work out as they have foreseen it. And when it doesn't, that's when the relationships start breaking apart, and then nobody cares to look at the beginning and the outset of the relationship and what was going on, and instead they're looking for the problem that was started long before. They're looking at it to find the problems within the relationship, not with the intention of why they're in the relationship, which started way at the beginning. They're trying to figure out, what did I do? How did this happen? Why did they change? She wasn't like this at the beginning, or why is she like this? Because she was always like that, or he was always like that from the beginning. But they never focused on letting you know what their real intention was. And you never really cared about what their intention is, as long as they would comply to the things that you liked, which they all do at the beginning. But eventually, they're going to be focusing on what's most important to the most important person in their lives. And who's the most important person in their lives? Themselves. So regardless of how much credit they give you, or how much compliance, or how many things they try to do to please you in the relationship, eventually they will come to the point that, well, I'm doing all these things for me. I'm the most important person in my life. And unless this person will comply to the stuff that I want, well, then I wouldn't be able to continue. So they'll continue it for a while, but eventually they'll be convinced that that person is not going to bend his values. And I should, instead of thinking that I should stop pushing him to become, let's say, see things the way only I see it, and I wouldn't want to see the way that things look from his point of view, and I don't want to recognize his values and his political or economical or responsibility values, but I want him to recognize what I'm interested in. Then that becomes a selfish competition, and of course the animosity and resistance and so on and so forth starts getting into the picture, which eventually leads to breakup. But nobody thinks that this breakup already started when the relationship started, because they didn't know much about each other's intention for this relationship, their real intention, other than what was visible on the surface, that every relationship at the beginning is focused on: intimacy, warmth, fun, and agreeable nature of each other, just to please each other, or at some point, if you're really devious, just pretending that you agree and pretending you're compliance, just so that the other person will trust you, and eventually you'll start working out your magic or your manipulation techniques in order to achieve what it is that you want that relationship to look like, rather than what both of you would want that relationship to look like. So to recap, if you're going into a relationship expecting the other one to make you who you want to be, to help you to accomplish what you want to accomplish, to be responsible for everything that you wanted to accomplish and to be, but you cannot on your own, that is a wrong start of a relationship. And if any one of you really care about yourselves and the relationship that you're starting or hoping to start or hoping to have in your life, you're going to be attuned to these things. You got to see the kind of woman that you're actually beginning a relationship with. In the eyes of the men, women are all beautiful and sexy, and we approach women for that what we're programmed to. Heterosexual male loves women, therefore we wish to be with them, to get to know them, and to enjoy the intimacy that is so important to us. And the wrong woman knows that and offers you that, so you'll get used to it, and you then uses that to make you comply to her own way of thinking and wishes that she couldn't have accomplished on her own in her life, but now wants you to feel responsible because she is giving you what you really hold high in value in your life. That is either a narcissist or just a diehard feminist who doesn't understand what real feminism is all about being capable, being educated, being compassionate, being proud to be a woman, and yet they think it's all about power mongering and manipulating and animosity towards men and so on and so forth. You got to be aware of this and protect this relationship that you value so highly, and not let it to end up being something that disappoints both of you. So the awareness of what you're getting, what kind of a person is your partner, is very important to be considered at the beginning. And you women, if you are facing with a relationship where at the beginning the man is so amazingly kind in every way, but you see the triggers that as soon as you disagree with something, flies off the handle, or silent treatment, or all those amazing behavior goes to oblivious and you don't see it anymore, disappears. But that's also is your signal to know that you're heading into a relationship with a narcissist or someone who wants to manipulate and control, and not to be liberal when it's needed to be, and not to have values that could be complementary to both of you, while each one of you will keep your individuality and what's very important in value and lifestyle in your own minds and how you want the society to see you. But neither one of you should expect or think that the other one is responsible for you getting everything that you expect to be getting in this life and experience in this journey of life. And that would be something specifically on your own shoulders, and that's what you should be carrying rather than putting it on the shoulder of your partner. And when it doesn't happen, see it from your own point of view that it's his fault or her fault, and then severing the relationship because it didn't meet your standards. But your standards were all set up wrong. This was your responsibility, not his. This was your responsibility, not hers. And expecting that is wrong to begin with, let alone expecting it to bring about a good, positive, happy, balanced relationship. Something to ponder, and we'll continue on this discussion in the next video. I'll talk to you later. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com, making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon. But we too, like the iceberg, have 1,000 times bigger powers that is not visible, and we must. Why? Is it something we're rambling on and I expect you to accept it? Or is there actually another power within us? Would you come and help me out? Okay. What I want you to do is put your hands underneath my arms and just lift me up. There we go. Okay, now, that's my physical part, right? Same thing, again, with that. Just want to see if there's any difference. Go ahead. Now, go ahead. Now, this, go ahead, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So you see, this is different than what he was doing, and I'm not really doing anything. You convinced?
Yeah.
So are you guys convinced that there is something other than, thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank you very much.